It's about 7:45 in the morning, about 45 minutes before sunrise, and I'm just setting out from my parking spot near Kokish River. I'm going to walk along the Englewood Logging Railway. I think it's about 2 and a bit miles, about 3 to 4 kilometers each way to get to the East Fork Bridge. So that's my goal. Coming up to a sign with the number 4 on it. One thing I've learned from reading about Englewood Railway is they have signs for the curves, and the curves are numbered. So this is not mile 4, because I'm very close to Beaver Cove. This is curve number 4. Good to know. But I'm looking for mile 2.9, which is the East Fork Bridge. That's what I'm working towards at dawn as I stumble over a mixture of steel and wooden ties. It's also 3 big windfalls I've gone through just in the first 10 minutes. Hopefully it's not like that the whole way, and it's not down towards the end of this dawn curve here. Here I am beside a little creek crossing with a culvert at curve number 5. Number 5. That's where I've come from. That's just a little obstruction. So I'm walking my way, I guess I could call it railway south. And let's just keep on going. Again, we have steel ties. Let's just count them. Steel, wood, wood, steel, wood, wood, steel. Yep, nice pattern there. Walking southward, it's now 8:15, 10 minutes before sunrise. Not that we'll see the sun because it's a lot of cloud, but it is lightened up. Coming up to a creek crossing under a culvert, because I can hear the creek on both sides. Just a couple of ties, just hanging out. And I got a bigger sign up ahead, which is probably my first milepost, which would probably be mile 1. I'm going to 2.9, so I got a ways to go. I better pick up the pace. I'm coming up to the milepost. It's mile 2. I thought it was going to be mile 1. So I think mile 1 was back by the level crossing of the main logging road just near Kokish River. And even I can figure out this is a milepost sign, not a curve sign, because of the letter M. Thank you, Sesame Street. And that's where I am here in the cut of the bank. Let's continue. 2.9 is my bridge. I'm going to make it. I'm in a really nice forest area now. Here between mile 2 and mile 3. I love the sound of the creek. Lots of evidence of maintenance from years gone by. I'm coming up to another curve. Curves are always a bit mysterious when I haven't seen them before, not quite knowing what's coming up. And nice stacked group of ties right there. Oh, and a lovely photograph looking down there. Here's a couple of log cars, or actually one log car, parts of it between mile 2 and mile 3, right near curve 10. So sorry, number 730. I'll see you on the way back. This is a nice, good little S curve here. Curve 10 and then curve 11. I'm getting used to these whole curve numbers. I can also hear a creek or a river. So just like other trestles and bridges that I've explored for the first time, you never quite know when you're going to get there. You always wonder, is that next sound of water the creek for your trestle or just a culvert? And you don't quite know what it's going to look like. Sometimes not until you turn a corner and there it is. And yes, that is the fun. Oh my, look at that fog rising. That's lovely. With any luck, I get some fog rising from the East Fork River or creek or whatever it is. I'm coming up to curve number 12 where we have a little retaining wall. Should be a nice view of a drop off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is a nice view. A good picture for another time, like on the way back. So I want to get to my bridge. Walking southward, coming up to what might be the East Fork Bridge. My clues are that I'm leaving a closed-in area. The ground is opening up. I got a couple log cars dumped. So maybe that's just where they dump them beside. And the sound of water. Oh, and a nice sharp curve. That could be the approach to the East Fork Bridge. And what looks to be a gap with a little valley or ravine. Aha. Oh, and what might be the tote road from when they reloaded or repaired this bridge after the washout in the 80s or 90s. Oh yeah, this is the bridge. Sorry, 875. You tried your best. Interesting thing is this is right about when I thought I'd see this, about an hour of walking for 2 miles, which is a long time, but I make lots of stops. Oh, this is nice. I am going from railway north to south. How is that for a nice photograph? Wow. Well, this is really sad. Just a bundle of yellow cedar ties that are never going to do anything. It's been 2 3/4 years since the trains ran. What a waste of a railway. This is looking south. I'm just beyond mile 3. So if I continued this way and I was ambitious and the weather was going to be nice, and it was a longer day like in the spring, I'd continue down to Salton River to that fabulous trestle, high trestle. But I won't, because I don't have the time. Looking back north, curve 16 and mile 3. Now that I know what these curve things mean, it makes more sense. Locomotives 302 and 304 were what I thought was mile 15.5. It's actually curve 155. Ah, that's just north of Camp A. I remember putting that, I think, in some of my social media postings that it was mile 15.5. Ah, misinformation by a newbie. Here's milepost 3, or as they might say, mile board 3. Depends if you want to focus on the post or the board that the post is holding up. Here's some more wasted yellow cedar ties. Just looking at the berm on either side. We are in a nice cut here, coming to the East Fork River, approaching from the south now. This windfall up ahead lets me remember that there's not too many that I saw today, other than 3 in quick succession in the dark right when I started, including a very difficult one that I actually had to take my backpack off and go hands and knees underneath it. I get to do that again. Let's go to the river. One last time, south to north. Now to continue walking northward for a couple miles and hopefully not get rained on too much. Well, I found the curve 14 sign. Let's check out the log car. Trucks. Okay, let's get back to walking. Bye-bye, bridge. Yeah, nice set of curves down there. Another good photograph. I'll never get home at the rate I'm going. Railway built here just on the cliffside. Nice big drop off to a view. At curve number 12. That looks nice. Let's check her out. Yeah, retaining wall. Coming up to curve number 11 with a creek that runs under the track, and also a bit of Western Forest Products tree farm where they're doing some second growth. They decided to grow some trees along a railway. You'll be ready for harvest long after I'm dead. A very pretty Englewood Waterfall here at curve 11. Some concrete blocks to clear a spot for the culvert. And then underneath and flows down into the East Fork River. Well, if there's going to be a rock slide, it's going to be on a slope like this. And evidently there has been a rock slide. a few times. Lots of rubble on this side where it's fallen down. Lots of old ties down the embankment where they've tossed them. Yeah, that's where you'd have a rock slide. Here we are at Curve 10, heading northbound with this log car that I saw on the way in. Already played around with it. At the risk of getting my terminology wrong, I'll say, hey, there's the knuckle. I'll call this whole thing a bunk. Or at least the yellow thingy is. And I know that the wheel and axle is the truck. And I know the flange is. Keeps it from falling off the rail. Number 730. You've done well. Now enjoy staying here for 50 more years, maybe? We'll find out. Well, who knows if I'll be back here and find out, but I suspect this isn't going anywhere. I'm here between mile 2 and mile 3. Such a beautiful spot in the woods. One of the reasons I love railway walking on inactive railways is you get all the benefits of being in the woods with the slopes all around you and valleys and ravines and hillsides and rock cuts, but you're on a level grade or a very easy grade. And so it's easier to walk, and yet you're surrounded by beauty, like right up here on this hill. I am thankful. Curve 9 has a straightaway behind me and another straightaway coming up. And a little bit of a windfall, but no big deal on this one. Other than just being careful. How I navigate it. It's usually a way. It's a bit of the Englewood stockpile. You know, I'm never going to get out of here because I keep on seeing photographs to make. Kind of feel like I'm in the Englewood Logging Railway graveyard here. With all these old ties. Down rails that won't see a train again. I feel a combination of sadness and yet interest and excitement because this is the first time I've seen this area of the Englewood Railway, but sadness and yet also, I don't know, just an intrigue with the history. Also a bit of reverence and respect for the people that built this and operated it, and even though I'm far away from Was, definitely some reverence and respect for the people that were in the accident that was right at the end of this railway. So if this is a cathedral, this cathedral belongs to the workers and families that built and operated it, and those that died and were injured. Looking south on this straightaway right at mile 2. There's a hill there. I'm not sure how well the camera shows that, but I wasn't able to see over the top of the little hump. And now I can. Coming to mile post, mile board, mile marker 2. It's funny, when I saw the mile 1 sign early this morning in the dark, I saw the M.1 and I thought it was mile 0.1 for whatever reason. And I was like, oh good, I got even longer to walk. Now I understand. M2. Well, 4 hours ago I was here at the same spot. Different lighting then. Now it's about 12:30 p.m. Gee, if I took 4 more hours to get done, it would be dark again, but I won't. I got about, I don't know, a mile. That's 1.7 kilometers or so. Walking this way, it's more than 17 minutes. It'll be about 30 minutes the way I'm going. This has been a lot of fun. I am curious to see what the big bad windfall tree looks like in full light. Maybe I'll find a better way around it. Or maybe I will be crawling on my hands and knees with my backpack pushed in front of me. We'll see what happens. This is quite lovely. It's a little meadow bench there. Lots of elk or deer poop on it. The river is down below, one of the rivers. And here, nice and steep, is what I'm going to call a game trail for the elk or the deer to get up to the logging road area and beyond. So lots of hoof prints in the mud. Nice steep trail. Obvious spot for them to be. Yet nothing I can see right now, but with regards to animals, I know they're around. This morning when I got out of my car and started walking in the dark, I could hear some animals just over a little berm or little hill beside me, and so I gave my animal a call, which goes like this. Hey-oh! And I heard them move. I generally do a couple things also when I start out in the dark, is I'll give my horn of my car a honk, just to make some noise so whoever's close by knows that there's someone here. I got my bear spray with me. That was beautiful down there. Wow. My bear spray that I've never used, but it's like a security blanket. I give that animal a call frequently when I'm in a place like this alone, with lots of blind corners and lots of areas on either side of me where there could be animals. Let them know that I'm coming. Of course, cougars, there's no point doing that because they generally already know when someone's there, and you don't really see or hear them unless they're really close. Black bear should be hibernating. There are grizzlies that swim over to northern Vancouver Island. I mean, they're not native to Vancouver Island, but in the last 10-15 years there's been enough grizzly bears reported that they're, I'm not going to say common, but now it's no longer unheard of that there'd be a grizzly, so you never know. And then there's deer and there's elk. Lots of elk on Vancouver Island as Roosevelt elk, and there's lots on the northern Vancouver Island where I am. Lots of black-tailed deer, favorite food for the cougars. Lots of cougars on Vancouver Island. So that's what I do for the animals. I don't really try to be smart. Try to keep moving. Try to always remember to make some noise. There's a little connector which I think is to a logging road, which could get me back to my car, but I'm not sure, and I really just want to stay with the rails. It's almost 1 p.m. I mean, I started this just before 8 a.m., so 5 hours in to do 2 miles in, 2 miles out is not very good pace if I was running, but having a fun time everywhere I go. I see things that are beautiful that I want to photograph, that I want to document on video. Right now is this curve. I like it because curves are always beautiful because you don't know where they're going. So there's a photographic metaphor, but straight on are those woods in the dark there, the dark woods. And the red bush on the right hand side adds to the composition. We'll see what it looks like. I like it. Curve number 4. Hey, I've seen you before. In the dark when I was wearing my headlamp. I think I might have done my first video file this morning on the trail from here. It's a lovely curve. Curve 4, you are beautiful. As I get a bit delirious from the walking and overstimulation of railway history. Speaking of history, these ties are kind of history. They're done. Walking north, nearing the level crossing with the logging road main, just before the Kokish River crossing. I'm in my final straightaway. I see 1, 2, or 3 windfalls. I see my car. I see the level crossing. Oh yeah, now it all makes sense. This first one is easy. I just have to make sure I duck properly. And it's the next one, a bit more of an issue. I love it. I'm at the end of my walk and now the rain has started ever so gently. The wind has picked up as well. I'm very pleased with my choice of where I went today and the timing of it all, and even my choice of clothes. Pretty smart. So I basically went straight through this morning under the limbs and crawled under the trunk right through in the middle of the track. Well, it's too tight for me to get under there, too tall for me to get over. I'm going to try something different. Instead of going straight through, I'm going to come around here, probably get through the branches, and then be able to go under the trunk. Got my camera all packaged up with a bag on top that you hear rattling, so it is not getting wet. Oh, this would have been the smart way. Look at this, indications of a path. You know, the things that you don't notice when you're walking in an unfamiliar place in the dark. See, if there was a few more people going through here, like at Cameron Lake, then it would make sense. But now I see the obvious path. Bit of ducking through there. Here I go. A bit wet from the tree. That's okay. And I'm through. I'm through. Time to see the whistle sign. The only whistle sign I've seen today. Makes sense. I've been way apart from civilization. Okay. Next time, go that way, Mike. I suspect the tree will get cut up sometime after the labor dispute is done and when they're ready to rip up the rails. And now the rain starts again. Glossettes. And here I am at the level crossing with the logging main road. So it's likely that I could have taken the logging road up a little bit further to where one of those roads comes down near the railway, but I wasn't able to figure that out and I arrived in the dark. There's nothing wrong with walking down the railway line. There's curve 3 with a stockpile of rails. Saw that stockpile first thing in the dark and I was worried that they'd already ripped up these rails. Thankfully no, because I get to see them one last time. Logging road takes hills, railway stays down on the grade. I like the railway.